Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest today is Tara McGee, formerly known as Tara Rinke. She's getting married, folks, so she's in transition at the present moment. But we're going to be talking about your breath. Breath, begin with breath, healing the nervous system, healing through breath work. Begin with the breath, and I often say to people, take a breath. When you're feeling stressed out and things like this, take a breath. Just breathe in and breathe out. It helps align your body, and you kind of just can think for a moment. You cannot think if you are not breathing. She said she knows what it feels like to live on the edge, always performing, pleasing and striving, yet secretly running on empty. Even with a background in psychology, she found herself looping through patterns of numbing, escaping, and abandoning herself until she discovered breathwork and the nervous system regulation. That's when she finally began to prioritize her relationship with herself. And she learned that the system wasn't broken, it was wise, and it could be recalibrated. Now she helps others move from anxious reactivity to steady resilience by showing them what their system balancing out, and you're no longer governed by the need to survive. You are free to thrive. The breath is a remote control to your nervous system, and it's the bridge back to yourself. She's a registered therapeutic counselor, breathwork instructor, and co-owner of 11 Arrows Health in Nanaimo, BC. Beautiful place on Vancouver Island, folks. After years of people-pleasing and over-functioning, she discovered the transformation and power of nervous system regulation through breath, and now inspires other people through Within Breath, and guides the individual and groups to embody their breathwork practices and transformational programs designed to help people address anxiety, regulate their nervous system, and reconnect to themselves. She has a new partner, a daughter, and a sister who loves the real moments of human connection through laughter, tears, of breath. Her mission is to help others find their safety and freedom to be and express themselves fully and rooted in self-honor and carried by breath. Look, I'm an asthmatic. I know what it's like not to be without breath. And that's the physical breath where it supports the body. Without breath, we don't get supported. We die, folks. But there's also the emotional breath where we need to take a breath and just not engage with what's going on or remove ourselves from what's going on. Very often it is simply take a breath, isn't it, Tara? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's a moment of pause, a place to pause and just slow down and come back to yourself, check in. Yeah, it's been instrumental in my personal development. Yeah.
It's instrumental in everything because when we are not breathing, so to speak, we're anxious, we're tense, everything about us just shuts down and crunches up. And there's no oxygen running through your body or through your brain or through your other intellects, like your soul, heart, and spirit intellect. Everything is just crunched. We have no clarity in that moment.
Yeah.
Basically, we're just in panic. And when we open everything up and open up the lungs to breathe and open up the brain, heart, soul, and spirit to breathe, suddenly it's like, I see it now.
Yeah, when our system is activated in a sympathetic state and our nervous system is, tense and vigilant and on guard, no information comes in or gets out. And so we can express ourselves from that state, but we also can't even interpret the world in a non-biased, healthy way because we're in our survival strategy right there, our survival pattern of protection. So it can be so limiting. So yeah, it's such a game changer to just really connect with your breath,
Mm.
and start to pattern it and touch in on it and yeah, regulate through it.
You said something there about we think we're protecting ourselves. When we go into it, and it's a reaction to
Mhm.
something outside. But to shut ourselves down or go into that state is not a protection, is it?
Yeah, I mean, we're bracing ourselves there. And like you said, we can't think, we can't, respond in a healthy, balanced way, right? We're just in survival state and protection. So yeah, it's not really productive for problem solving or communicating or connecting at the heart level.
Mm-hmm.
We actually just physically can't connect at the heart level when our nervous system is activated in a sympathetic state.
And I find, so much more today that people are kind of riding their nerves. There's so much static going on. There's so much boom, boom, boom going on in the world right now that, it's so hard to avoid. At the same time, I invite people to be a part of the solution, but that also means you've got to be aware of the problem and to understand that even if we fortify ourselves and step into our own beautiful divine essence as a human being, peacefully, lovingly, completely, we resonate out a vibration that then invites the next person and the next person and the next person. But we've got to get there. And it's switching off from all of that while still being a part of it, in the sense of proactiveness without getting into the whole of it. And we want you to get mad with what's going on out there, because when you're aware, you care, and when you care, you do something about it, and you can never be unaware. But at the same time, we don't want it stressing you out to a point that you are holding your breath, right? So
Yes.
how do we ask people to be proactive and stand up against what's happening, and at the same time be in breath?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really great question. Well, and I think that is the beauty of breath is it really is a center. It's a place to be centered. And from there, we do radiate out and we do extend our care and love and generosity. Um, yeah, but it is not easy when this stimuli of the world is
Mm,
coming at us. And so I think that's the work of, the personal work that we need to do of regulating our internal state and getting resilient in there so we can, because we so often want to come at it through control. Well, if I
yeah.
say this, I do this. If I act in this way, then this will happen, right?
Ha ha ha. It
Trying to
doesn't happen like
control, right? Trying to control our external world is never going to get us to feel whole, for one, and at peace with ourselves. And we're not going to get the reaction and the ease and the safety that we're looking for. It has to be cultivated
that.
internally. And that takes a lot of surrender and it takes a lot of acceptance and it takes a lot of just meeting yourself where you really are. Yeah.
Surrender. I love the word. A lot of people think, well, if I surrender, I don't have control. Well, actually, what you're surrendering is to what fortifies you, what supports you, what
Mhm.
guides you. You're right. You're not surrendering to what curtails you.
Yes.
Um, and so, we have to look at the word and like, don't give it a bad rap, because
Mhm.
we are looking at the surrender to the breath, surrender to the inner peace, surrender away from the chaos. And it is an allowing, isn't it?
Yeah, and allowing. Yeah, that's what I use that word a lot in my therapeutic
Mm,
practice. But I think too that surrender piece is really about um, actively and honestly knowing that you can't control everything. You
yes,
can't.
yes.
And there are so many things we can't control. And so that's when we need to surrender and allow some of the things that we cannot control. to actually create that space internally so that we can then problem solve from there or then create connection from there, right? Rather than that bracing, trying to control.
You're surrendering to a higher energy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, God, universe, spirit, source, energy, universe, whatever you want to call it. You know, we are not the sum of everything.
Yeah.
You know, we have a higher energy, a higher love, a higher wisdom. For me, how I look at it is that it speaks through your soul, and it resonates with your heart in truth. It's
Mm.
given to your spirit in action for your mind to know in clarity what it needs to know when it needs to know it. And in that self, that's a breath. I am
Mm.
trusting this wisdom. It resonates with me,
Yeah.
right? Now I surrender it to the brain, and the brain goes, oh, okay, I know what you need.
Yeah.
Here you are, right? But I think when we think it, we
Yeah.
go into, yeah, but what if? But when we feel the wisdom, we
Mhm.
get the right knowledge.
Yeah, we just open in that
Yeah.
place. And so much is available. That's where possibility is born,
Yes. Yes.
right? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really appreciate that reflection and that yeah, emphasis on allowing and surrendering and creating
And it
space.
is whatever you want to call it, right? You know,
Yeah,
it,
and oh yeah, that was the piece that we started on is that, source, divine,
yes. Hmm.
uh, whatever we want to call it. I really believe it's that interconnected energy between us
Yes.
all.
Hmm.
And I love the breath practice that I do, actually activates that and creates it internally. And so a lot of the times when you're doing a meditation, you're kind of calling in
Hmm.
the energy of the universe
Yes.
and taking it in or taking in the energy of the earth, which is all valid and beautiful
Hmm.
and perfect. But I think we leave out the reality that are a universe inside of ourselves. Like we
Yes.
we have the universe in every cell of our body. Like that's how
Yes.
magical we are. And so we can actually activate that
Mm.
internally and really so I love this practice. It's like, you know, rhythmical breathing that really wakes the body up and balances and nourishes your cells so that
Yes.
you can then extend that wisdom, that energy, that interconnectedness, that divine love source. It actually comes from inside of you. You don't have to look for it outside of you.
And you resonate it out as you are now talking about this, right? Your
Hmm.
entire energy, your entire essence, entire glow completely
Yeah.
changed because it is a connection that we trust.
Yeah.
It is a wisdom and a guidance and a compass that we trust because we know it doesn't have an agenda other
Yes.
than to support us, right?
Hmm.
We are
Yeah.
all here on a journey of self discovery. What is our instrument? How do we play it? Can we play it as a soloist? Yes. But when we find our orchestra, each one of us in our own strengths, our own abilities, but harmoniously come together, we are transcendent, right?
Hmm.
But we can't go to that orchestra until we are an instrument that really is attached to what we're playing, right?
Yeah. Right. Really sourced in our
Yes,
inner
yes,
desires, needs, and that comes from our adversity, that comes from our challenges, that comes from everything we've faced. I think that's a really important part of the personal journey is honoring the struggles and honoring the shadow and the so-called negative aspects of self
yes.
that help us grow into our best version of ourselves.
And it goes back to what you know, you can't unknow. And we learn things and go, oh my God, I didn't know I did that. Or, oh
Yeah.
gosh, I just realized I did that. Where did that come from? And you realize it's a pattern that's, being repeated.
Hmm.
Or it's a societal thing that you've just mindlessly followed.
Yeah.
And now you're aware of the repercussions of it.
Yeah.
It isn't about shame or blame or evil you are. No, it's none of that. It's like, I know better, so therefore I will strive to do better. But you're
Mhm.
still going to make a mistake along the line. But are you willing to
Mhm.
correct it? That's the question.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really becoming apparent in my work these days, though, is that, and it's part of my own story too, where I was all the knowledge in the world and all the understanding was still not helping me actively choose a new path
Mm,
in the moment. I was still struggling with boundaries and still struggling with prioritizing myself and still even listening to myself, right?
mhm,
And that's where the nervous system regulation really starts to create space internally so that we
mm,
can hear ourselves more.
mhm,
Um, we think that this, noise chatter, like this mental chatter and this outside stimulation and all of this is limiting us from making choices, but it's actually the tension in the body that is not allowing us to have new information
yeah.
and reach in a different way.
Yes.
So,
We again back to when things are like this, there's nothing. Our oxygen, our blood, our chi, our energy, our wisdom all needs to flow. It has to flow. And when
mhm,
you're anxious, uptight, angry, all of that just kind of stops. And what happens? Your body is at dis-ease. What happens? Disease starts
yes.
coming because you're blocking the flow of everything. We are rhythmic creatures. Everything needs to be in flow and in rhythm. And the beautiful thing about breath, it brings everything to that rhythm. It brings everything to that flow. But I think that's the first thing that stops with people is oh, the breath.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think too, because we don't consciously pay attention to our breath,
Yeah.
and we all sort of get in a cycle of actually we in our culture we're actually very over oxygenated. We're taking in more oxygen than we can actually use. And
Mm.
that actually creates a sympathetic state in the body. So
I
we are
didn't know that.
we
That's
are
interesting.
tense. Part of our tension is from like an inefficient use of oxygen.
Ah,
And so similar in the way that we take in more calories than we need, right? We're doing that with air, and that's part of just our unconscious kind of lazy breathing.
mm.
Just our mouth is open, we're kind of walking around gapped out, and we're actually taking in air. It's not conditioned, it's not sterilized, right? If we're breathing through our nose, regularly, it's actually a nice, slow, consistent breath that's being conditioned and cleaned and balanced
Mm.
internally, goes right down into the lower lungs. And then we also have a slower exhale there. Part of the struggle is in our exhale. So we're taking in more air than we need, and we're exhaling and discharging more CO2 than we should.
Mm.
And so
That
it's
makes
actually
sense.
a really, really important balance that we are all totally unaware of. And part of that is what is propelling this sympathetic tension in our body, the hypertension and the I'm I'm blanking right now on the
Discombobulation of the body.
yeah, hypertension and like any kind of inflammation. Thank you.
Right.
That get it to my brain. The inflammation of our bodies, right? All the buildup and inflamed areas.
Yes.
And so that is from having too much oxygen. We don't know it's not usable.
Mm.
And that creates oxidative stress. And so that's actually compounding our anxiety and compounding the tension and intensity in our body and in our mind from not breathing efficiently. And
Gina,
so,
I've never heard of this before. I've done a lot of breath shows and I've never ever heard of this before. Um,
okay.
so this is really valuable information, folks, because it's sometimes people have sinus problems or a cold or whatever, and everything's breathing through the mouth. And yes, you need to keep those nose airways,
Mm,
free as best as you can. But it makes sense because like very often if I'm speaking where I have to raise my octave,
mhm.
like this, I'm fine, but if I have to raise my octave, I find myself taking in more air, and then I find myself getting indigestion, like a
Right.
bubble in my chest, right? And then it becomes quite painful.
That is
All
the
right. And then,
inflammation in
my
that.
asthma then plays up, right? So it's like
Yes.
I never knew that, I knew that it was because I'm having to raise that octave to speak above the crowd or speak,
Yeah.
to the crowd, but I didn't realize that it was, coming from that, but it makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, I highly recommend James Nestor's book, The Science of a Lost Art. Breath, it's called Breath. And he has such great knowledge in there. His reference and his belief is that the way we breathe, our breath is a missing pillar to our health. So
Mm,
we
mm,
know that we need to eat well and
mm.
exercise and, have healthy relationships, but no one talks about the quality of your breath and how that actually informs all of those
Yeah.
aspects of the self and how well we can take in and how well we can regulate and how well we can exchange. And yeah, so it's really fascinating.
And of
And
course, again, something we take for granted, right? From
and
the
I
moment,
think
the
too,
first breath,
yeah, I think too, like we're all walking around in this tense state and we say, okay, yes, I've got a lot of stress in my life right now. And yes, there's this happening and that happening. But um, I think like to flip that switch a little bit and be like, if your breath was causing this tension in your body, and then that tension in your body is creating this um, perspective
perspective.
of how you're looking at the world from a tense, protected, vigilant state. And then that's all you see and that's all you live, and you're just sort of
Yes.
hopeless, right? And so, yeah, it's kind of like
Breathless.
yeah,
Mm,
groundbreaking, breathless to
yeah.
think, wow, what if it's the way that I'm breathing
Mm,
that is actually creating all this tension in my life?
mm. Look at Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, everything. It's all emphasis on the breath.
Mhm.
It's all emphasis on slow, deliberate movements. People think that they've got to get into the gym and go fast and push, push, push. And it's almost like giving birth, it's just like all of that. And it's that we look at the ancient arts where everything is the breath and the action is of one. And
Mhm.
it's slow and it's deliberate. And it really fills the body and supports the body and elevates the body. And it's something I think that we need to look at is not everything has to be chased or fast, that there's
Mhm.
so much benefit in the slow and the present.
Yes, that is like the most important piece that I teach in my 6 week nervous system reset, and it is getting into our parasympathetic nervous system. So our sympathetic is like action, right? We need to motivation, we need to accomplish things, we need to succeed. But parasympathetic is where we rest and
Mm,
digest and restore. And if that, like, they're both are vital to our
yes.
survival and our evolution. We need them both. But unfortunately, our culture is more in the sympathetic state. This is why we can't sleep. This is why we can't,
Mhm,
rest. We can't slow down. Um, we're so anxious, right? But in the parasympathetic state, that slow exhale, slowing down, this is where we restore, this is where we connect
mm,
to in our relationships. So
mm.
it's really, really vital. Like that's where we fill our cup,
Yeah.
right? Like we hear that term filling our cup. We can't fill our cup out in the sympathetic state. We're just
Hmm.
draining our battery out there.
Hmm.
And so that's why all of these slow movement, intentional practices are so vital to our
Hmm.
balance. Yeah.
And, meditation, not everybody can be kind of cross-legged on the floor, but there's different forms of meditation, right? Going for a walk in nature, for me, I love walking amongst trees, but I also love swimming because water is such a conduit. And I find it so relaxing. I can just lay on that water and just let the water ripple underneath me. And I just find it,
Yeah.
decompressing. It's finding a place that matches, your desire for the slower breath,
Mhm.
right? And I think, looking at what medium works for you.
Hmm.
Um, but making sure that it supports the whole breath system.
Yeah, I was really wanting to get into meditation, and like before I found this breathwork practice that I do, I was on a personal journey, became a therapist, still struggling in my patterns and still,
Mhm, mhm. At least you're
needing to
aware
do
of
work.
them.
Yeah. And so part of my thought process was like, okay, I need a spiritual practice now, right? Like I'm going to start meditating, like, okay. And so I tried, and I honestly got kind of frustrated with it because I just couldn't feel like the peace or the calm
Yes.
that everyone says is so accessible. But as soon as I put the headphones on and started this breath practice, it was like
Mm,
boom, like I dropped right into that state. It's like meditation on steroids. It takes you right there. And there's
yeah.
no effort there. And that's the opposite of what meditation is, right? You're
Yes.
supposed to
Yes.
effort to meditate.
I certainly can't do that because I have ADD. So immediately I go into that and like, so I have to give that part of the brain a job to do.
Hmm.
And so, like when I'm editing and, doing all the admin stuff, which I could do robotically now,
Yeah.
I can have the headphones on with some music. And I
Mm.
find music is a wonderful equilibrium and it recenters me. And I can just, the brain is off doing its little thing.
Yeah.
So the other part of me can relax and get into the groove. And,
Right.
and it's finding what it is that works for you. Obviously, with what you're doing with people is showing them how to regulate, finding that path that works for them, being
Mhm.
aware of their breath. Because, I mean, quite honestly, are we brought up to be aware of our breath?
Yeah, no, we're
Right?
not at
No,
all.
it is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
ever
And it's a
discussed.
practice. All of
Mm,
these things are a practice.
yeah.
We don't realize even just being emotionally aware is a
Yes.
practice.
Yes.
It's not something that we just choose to do. We have to like return with intention and work at
Mm,
it. Just like going to the gym or building muscles, it's like building emotional muscle, building
mm,
the muscle of presence,
mm.
all of those things.
Well, it's in my practice, I have people write down a column. Everything that you feel is against you or that you don't like, put it all down in that column. Put everything that's just great in your life,
Yeah.
and then I say to them, which one are you feeding?
Hmm.
Right? And if we're feeding this all the time, it's going to repeat because that's the messaging you're giving it. If you're
Yeah.
feeding this is going to grow, and from there, other things will grow from it that you can add to the list.
Hmm.
But we don't realize that we're feeding things,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, why are you watering the weeds?
Well, and I
Yeah.
think too, in our survival state,
Mm,
it's just very natural to feed the negativity because if we're not practicing positive
mm,
mindset or practicing balancing our nervous system with our breath or other ways, we just like our brain is wired to survive. So we just revert into survival,
yeah,
right? Like that's where we sit if we're not consciously, engaged.
yeah. I'll
And so we
consciously
don't
see it.
realize that we're just in our complacency,
Yeah.
we're in a negative state,
Hmm.
right? More negative because we have to survive and our brain takes over and wants us to survive. And so that's why people get so swallowed up and lost.
Mm,
Um, and I recognize that it's not easy to muscle and think our way into a healthier mindset,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's the part where we have to bring in some body-based practices like,
Hmm.
that tap us into the breath or, people love yoga or fitness even,
Yeah.
right? Like to really support the body to come back into balance as well.
It's not a one thing over the other. I have another genre called mental health awareness, which this show could very well go under because it's both,
Hmm.
right? Your health is not just one thing over the other. It is about balance. And sometimes you need to kind of spend the body so that, the mind and the soul can relax. And sometimes that needs the peace and quiet to support the body. And it's like really registering what's going on with you and
Hmm.
being aware that this is what I need right now. I need to stop everything I'm doing. This is what I need, and honoring that.
Yeah.
But if we don't know how to recognize that, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't know how to kind of pay attention, what's the body, the mind, the heart, the soul, the emotion telling me, and you're
Mhm.
not getting that messaging or you're misreading it, then you don't know how to address it. So, what you're doing is helping people recognize, identify, and the skills and the tools in order to address it. And then when they're completely aware of what's going on, then they're actually supporting their
Mhm.
whole being moving forward because the body wants to support us. The mind, the brain, the soul, the spirit all wants to support us on our journey.
Yep.
But if it's like this, then how, it's not supporting us, it's struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. Constantly bouncing from one
Yeah.
extreme to the next, right? The anxious to
Yes.
depressed, right? And that's really, really the body trying to restore balance, trying to counter the intensity of either. And yeah, and when we have more regulation, it's capacity in the middle to kind of
Mm,
flex and go up and down and like keep returning. Yeah,
yes.
building capacity to be in discomfort or to be real or to feel our emotions or, even to, push through sometimes, or yeah, to rest and slow down.
Yes.
A lot of people don't have capacity to be slow because that's
No, no,
scary.
no, because then they're slow, all the chatter comes, all the
Hmm.
things they're trying to avoid. Well, I go, resistance is futile, folks. You have to face it at some point because the only way to to get past it is to go through it,
Hmm.
right? And you have to face it, you have to identify what it is, you have to do whatever your forgiveness or healing or whatever. I promise you, when you go through it, you
Yep.
feel so much stronger, more resilient, more understanding, more empowered,
Yeah.
all of that. But you can't avoid it, however much you would like to. You can't avoid it with drugs. You can't avoid it with bad habits. You can't avoid it by just avoiding it.
Yeah. Perfectionism, right?
Nope. Yep.
Accomplishing.
Yep. Yes. I mean, how many people, pick up another habit and
Yep.
focus all on that just to escape this? And where it's like, pulling off the band-aid, it may hurt for a moment or two, but
Hmm.
the more you release it, the less power it has over you, and the
Yeah.
more empowered you become because of it.
Totally. Yeah. Just that like meeting it. I mean,
Mm,
that's the place. I mean, that's the tag of within breath is meeting
mm,
yourself,
yes.
right? With breath, through breath. Slowing down and getting, underneath all of that chatter
Yeah.
and seeing what it's all driven by. And if we recognize that a lot of it is just an imbalance in the nervous system, that
Hmm.
sympathetic, parasympathetic dysregulation, we can actually move through it very quickly. It doesn't have to, we don't have to be governed by that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
People with fibromyalgia, they know that it's kind of a hypersensitivity disease where your nerve endings are constantly screaming,
Yeah.
right? They're just, I have it, I've had it for 30 years. So do all the time.
Yeah.
Would your program help people with that condition to turn the volume down on that in a way that they're not perpetually, in
Yeah,
screaming mode?
absolutely. This program, although I've sort of marketing it as a program
Mm,
for anxiety, it really helps in all facets of health, especially around pain and pain
mm,
management and the nervous system regulation. And yeah, you'll see like so we breathe in a rhythm for one, which creates balance in the body. And then we go into breath holds where we really sort of expand our capacity to be in presence, but also, in stress. Like we can
mm,
be present with our stress through these breath holds. So it's a really powerful practice in developing yeah, resilience under stress and
mm,
being able to stay present. And then it touches all the aspects of our health. So physically, our body's going, when am I going to breathe? When am I going to breathe in
mm,
these holds, right?
mm,
And then mentally, our mind is kind of amping up, it's picking up, it's going, well, what are we going to do about this? Like, when's our next breath? And then emotionally, the fear gets really activated. And through that, we're actually building resilience to stay with it, stay with ourselves, and choose and have capacity to choose. And so it's such a vital practice to really expand our capacity in a fairly short period of time. Um, and build like a really resilient nervous system through
Mm,
that. So it absolutely, I've had people come through the program that were struggling with back injuries and pain, and breath and is one of the like greatest tools, internal tools that we have for pain management.
mm.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense because what happens when you're in pain? You kind of hold your breath more, right? It's like, oh, I'm in pain. So, all of a sudden you grip your breath, you grip everything else, and that just kind of makes everything worse. Whereas
Mhm.
if like when we say take a breath, find what breathing works with it at that time. You're kind of releasing either the oxygen or whatever else is needed to go to where the
Definitely.
situation is and kind of support it. So um as I said, so many people take breath for granted, from the second we're born. If we're not breathing, we're not alive. And when we stop breathing, we're dead, folks. So, it is
Well,
something that we need to pay attention to.
the other thing too is it is the only function of our autonomic nervous system that we have conscious control over. The
Right,
only.
right. We don't control
That
anything
our
else in the
human
body.
design,
Mm,
our body is so magical. There is not a reason that that would be the only access, except
mm.
that it is our access,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yeah,
To
you can't control your heart rate.
regulating our system.
I mean, your heartbeat, it's got to go by how many
But
times
you
it
can
pumps a
control
minute.
it with your breath.
Right.
You can
So the
control
breath
it with
is the control system
for
for the rest of the
everything.
body.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's, speaking to autoimmune disorders, that is dysregulation in the body and so much overcompensation of your system and your cells trying to fix or trying to eradicate tension or,
Uh-huh.
and so when we just bring balance to our breath
Yeah.
consciously, and so my program is all about like actually establishing a daily practice of your own and doing it every day. And so when you set your day up with this practice, it sets you up for the whole day to now be in a rhythmical breath. And
Hmm.
then like a lot less conscious, right? You don't have to put so much emphasis on it.
Right.
It's basically
You're
teaching the
changing the
system.
pattern. Now the pattern is in
Yeah.
its groove. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so the more and more you do that, the more regulation you're building into your unconscious pattern.
Hmm.
And yeah, it just creates so much more balance in all of the systems, the immune system, the vascular system, the digestive system, your nervous system, everything. So it's just it's such a fascinating and wonderful practice.
People think the oxygen only needs to go to the lungs, right? But if the oxygen that we're breathing in doesn't go to the rest of the body, parts start dying off.
Yeah.
Everything needs oxygen. You see people, developing problems with their legs or with their feet, or like with diabetes, losing them, etc. And a lot of that is the fact that that oxygen isn't getting there to support and to feed.
Mhm.
So, being aware of our breath, not just for anxiety or for pain, but just for fluidity and keeping everything oxygenated, everything
Mhm.
supported,
Mhm.
is really important because, going back to the rhythm of life, we need to find a rhythm that supports our body, our mind, our heart, and soul and spirit. And then once we're in that groove, in that rhythm, it there supports us in everything else we do. Clarity does come.
Yeah.
A sense of peace comes from that, a sense of understanding and seeing things differently because
Mhm.
you're in your calmness. And from that, you can see your clarity where you can't. When you're off balance or anxious or distressed, you just, you try and force yourself to, but you can't because it always feels just slightly out of reach.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really from that dysregulation. Yeah.
Mm.
That body constantly over trying to compensate or, and that not enoughness, like
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting how it's all so interwoven and that interconnectedness. And, we can look at it through the mind, or we can look at it through the nervous system, or we can look at it through the emotional system.
Hmm.
And they're all the same. They're all, yeah, I
Well,
love
I
it.
mean, people who have gone through trauma,
Yeah.
they want to walk away from their trauma. They just don't know how. And there's only so much mind work you can do, right?
Totally. I mean, and that's what I find, this practice honestly transcends trauma.
Mm,
It does,
mm,
because we don't have to go into the trauma. We don't have to relive it. We can balance our system, and then we are not governed by that protective,
yeah.
anxious state. We are then free to
Yeah.
choose how we want to engage with life. Yes, those traumatic, and we start to actually see them as helping us,
Oh, yeah.
honestly, too,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
Not to you, but for you.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
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 Like helping give you the skills and the
Yes.
knowledge and the experience and
Yeah.
the capacity to face life.
Mm,
Um, yeah, but it's really like our trauma living in our system, which it is.
yes.
And that's our system now is tense and
Yes.
protective. Like it's just like sometimes I just picture our activated nervous system is just like a little force field,
Hmm.
right? People can't reach us and we can't reach them. And then we're just seeing life from that traumatic state.
Yes. And unfortunately, if people with trauma have children, it gets caught up in the DNA and it becomes repetitive. And
Mhm.
the next generation has it and they don't know why they feel this way,
Yeah.
right? And it's like it's
Well,
being passed down. So,
again, it's nervous system too, regulation,
mm,
because our nervous systems co-regulate. And so our children naturally, and us too, our children, but our children need our nervous system to feel calm
mm,
and relaxed. And when we have trauma in our nervous system, it's going transmitting right into theirs. It's all
right.
frequency.
So we owe it not just to ourselves, to our community, but to our children
Mhm.
that, we do this. Even if your children are born,
Mhm.
it's now you can recognize in them,
Yeah.
what is happening and help them breathe in a way. I mean, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old grandson, and every time he gets upset, it's like, okay, now breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay, take some breaths, take some breaths. Okay, now what is the problem?
Mhm.
Right? And it's like he's getting himself worked up, and then you just bring it down, and then now either he can articulate it or let it go. But it's
Mhm.
just teaching them right from a really young age the importance of breath.
Totally. Yeah. Tap into it, regulate. Yeah. Slow down.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
for my kids, of course, they've seen me because I've had asthma all my life. So they've seen me have an asthma attack and immediately, where's your pump? So they've seen me going, gasping for breath. And so they see it from that point of view as well, of how important breath is. But my daughter works with people with brain injury, and she's a social worker. So for her, it's very, very much about using breath to calm down, right? And
Mhm.
it's like everybody just when we say take a breath, it is be conscious of, again, how you're breathing. Breathe through your nose,
Mhm.
right? Just let everything calm down. Let your whole body just go, let it go, let it go, let it
Yeah,
go.
well,
And
yeah, what you're speaking to too here is something that I teach in my nervous system reset lab that I'm doing this week or this month. I'll be doing a bunch of them, but um, it's really every inhale
mm,
is sympathetic, right? It's
mhm,
activating the body. It's building tension. It's getting you ready for something. Every exhale is parasympathetic,
yeah,
relaxing your system. And so when you start to understand that and realize like you can use your breath to decide like what you need now. Are you needing some energy and some activation? Do you need
mm,
motivation? Do you need to get up and get out of bed? Then you need to focus on your inhale and make those powerful and strong.
yeah.
And think about your inhale rather than your exhale. But if you're stressed and heightened and out to lunch and just like then you need to focus on your exhale.
Mhm. Letting it go.
And you don't focus on your inhale, you just very little inhales, more on the exhale. So that's literally like a nervous system button right there.
Mm, There's something I do whenever I do a live talk is that I always have my audience do 3 breaths in, right? You're ready to receive, you're open-minded, and then let the day go so far. Let everything that's outside these doors go. And I have it, do it 3 times and then say hello to your people left, right,
Yeah.
to bring that. And for me, it's kind of setting the energy I want in the room. And
Hmm.
so they're not bringing the outside energy and it's all static and you're taking ages to try and get them on the same energy length. It's just bringing everybody down to be present. And I find it quite effective. So there's so many ways we can use breath exercise in everything. A board meeting where you're going to be talking about something. How about a little breath work beforehand?
Yep.
Everybody's rushing to the board meeting. They've got other meetings to go to, this and that. Everybody just,
Yep.
let it go. And we're all here now present.
Yeah. Here we are. Presence. Yeah. It's been an absolute game changer for me in developing presence.
Mm,
Yeah, I didn't even actually know what presence was. It was some elusive sort of
yes.
like blankness in the mind, like what is presence? It's just like your mind is blank, but it's not that at all. It's really being with what is right here,
Yes.
right now, without judging, without criticizing, without needing to change,
Yeah.
without
Or
making,
without needing a whole load of information. It's just been, as you said, kind of blank. And then whatever needs to be will show up. But it's
yeah,
not dictating what needs to show up.
yeah, and you don't need to change it to be
Right.
okay. You don't
Yes.
need to adapt or label it
Hmm.
or yeah, make it some sort of quantitative thing.
Yes.
It's just like it is. Just
Yeah.
that's it
That's
right
it.
now.
Beautiful. It is.
Hmm.
That's what it is. It simply is. And you are.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Right? Nothing
Human
else needs to be
experience.
said. I am. Full
Yeah.
stop. Yeah. And that's where we want people to be because from there, you're in that calmness, that presence where your true divine energy now can resonate out. And then whatever the conversation, whatever the situation will be dealt with on that beautiful energy,
Yeah.
right? And that's where creativity comes about
Hmm.
because that's when you can see things clearly. You can
Yeah.
feel your knowledge clearly,
Yeah.
and other people's energies are dancing together. And it's
Hmm.
so beautiful to see that. And then everybody's got these epiphanies coming left, right, and center because the energy is right. And you don't realize that your breath, being present with yourself, is setting the energetic stage.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It's absolutely setting the energetic stage in every moment.
Yeah,
And so all we have to do is come back to the breath
yeah.
and check in and ask ourselves, what do we actually want right now? What do we actually
Mm-hmm.
need right now? What's really our intention? And yeah, I find too that's the place where manifestation happens
Mm-hmm.
too,
Yes,
where we become what we're wanting.
right. Paint
And
the picture
we're
of what you
attracting what
want,
we want.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But don't paint it from your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
It's
it's just a
it's a
sense.
blank canvas, let the soul paint it. It will show you what it is that you need. And, I find that if we just do everything from the mind, it becomes, without the wisdom, it's just data.
Yeah.
And so
Like
when we
that.
have that wisdom, that wise knowledge, then the knowledge becomes clear of how to use that wisdom.
Yeah, I think when you speak to wisdom, it really to me it encompasses that inner knowing that
Mhm.
and all aspects of the
Yes,
self, right? Yeah,
yes.
like that heart, that soul, that
Mhm.
physical body, all the information that's coming at
Yeah,
us, integrated into one wise.
absolutely. The very beingness of
Yeah,
who we are.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, whether somebody's struggling with physical health or anxiety or depression or trauma, it doesn't matter because your program can kind of reset the whole nervous system no matter what it is they're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The program is designed specifically to get everybody into a daily practice where they're nourishing and balancing their system every single day. And over 6 weeks, so much changes when we're mindfully and intentionally connecting with our breath out the gate every day. And
Hmm.
that's the hardest part. Like that's why it's a 6-week program, because I give people free audios and I
Yeah.
give them links and tell them to do this. But it's hard for us to do something different. It's hard for us to take active change and choose our health, because our nervous system and mind want to just revert to that protection and
Yeah, so like an
that
elastic band, it wants to go
familiarity.
back, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
has kept me alive for this
Yeah.
long, so I'm going to stay with this, right?
Yes.
Um, and so to implement, that's why habits are so hard
Yes.
to, even when they're good for us.
Right.
And so here we work in it, we're together with a community and we all start this practice together. And we, every day do the practice, do some gratitude, do a check-in and a journal with ourselves. And that is the foundation of the
Mm-hmm.
practice, the self-prioritizing practice
Mm-hmm.
of the program. And then we meet once a week and just see how everyone's doing and connect and share and grow as a community through it and see what people are coming up against. Yeah. And then I went at the end when we're fully it's so exciting to see the transformation that people
Mm-hmm.
go through, like lighter, brighter, more aware, more awake, like stronger. And it's really like developing that
Yeah.
resilience in the nervous system
Getting
to,
into a new groove
yeah,
and making it that new pattern. They say it needs 8 positives to undo one negative. Right?
wow.
So repetition, 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 so that the brain, the body, the whole psyche can now adjust to the new programming. What do
Hmm.
we do on a computer when we have an old program? We delete it
Yeah.
because we can't have the old program and the new program in there because they're going to conflict with each other.
Yeah.
So you need to delete the old program. And
Hmm.
with ourselves, it's a little harder just to press the delete button because it's in our cellular structure.
Yes.
It's in a past memory bank. It's so many places. So this is why you need the time to, register what it is you want to let go, but to find that breath and refeed, feed what it is you want to
Yeah.
happen. And
Well,
it's having that external support. Because how many people I'm gung ho, but there's nobody there to hold you accountable or to keep you in check. And then it's so easy to go back.
accountability is
Yes.
so important.
Yeah.
I keep bumping up against that. I try it. Like there's been times where I'm like, Tara, why can't you just be accountable to yourself?
Yes.
No, I can't.
Hmm. So
It's
you
just
need
so much.
someone that checks you. And
Yeah.
that's, having, even once the program is over, people meet other people. Let's be each other's
Yeah.
checker to
Yeah.
make sure we're staying in check. That,
Totally.
or that if you are facing something, call me, we'll do breath together. Right, be a
Hmm.
support system and getting your family on it because it's all very well you're on it, but if the rest of the family isn't, then there's an out of balance there. So having the whole family get
Yeah.
into that breathing exercise, and then, now you've got a harmonious family. Just look what you can achieve.
Yeah, it's pretty magical, honestly. It's very it's really wildly magical when we can regulate our system and start really connecting with the truth of who we are and not have to be protected in every
Hmm.
moment and on fire, vigilant, aware.
Yeah.
We just, there's so much possibility in that place.
Our bodies have an incredible way of healing themselves,
Hmm.
but we've got to give it the right tools.
Yeah.
And breath, of course, without breath, the body is nothing, right? So if the breathing can calm everything down, can oxygenate, can smooth over, can rebalance, can set us up in another rhythm,
Yeah.
then the body actually can there, okay, thank you. Right. We're in a
Yes.
nice rhythm now. I can get to work repairing this and repairing that. But he
Yes.
can't do it when it's under stress.
Yep, it's mind-blowing, honestly. Like when I started doing this practice, my whole like it took, I probably like I've been doing it every day since 2020, the end of 2020. And my whole life has completely transformed.
And
Like,
she's engaged to be married.
yeah. And but also like lost 50 pounds, like
Mm,
started my business, built a practice, feel and like energized, feel capable, all of
Yes.
these things. Not looping around in those patterns, having
Yeah.
boundaries, totally growing my tribe and being
Mm.
surrounded by people like-minded people and people that want to engage in, healthy and creative and expressive states of being.
I
And
kind of go, would not say like-minded because we can have like-minded people still in distress, but I call it the vibe tribe.
yeah,
When you're on the same frequency as each other and the same wavelength, because now you're in supportive energy of each other.
yeah. Yeah, and that actually goes back to rhythmical breathing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, and our heart and how
Mm.
important that is to regulate our heart. It like our heart is like a little battery, and that
Mm.
is emitting frequency. I mean, have you seen like the heart coherence stuff and like
A long time
Heart
ago,
Math?
so
Yeah, Heart
mm.
Math Institute, that kind of stuff. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And when we breathe in a rhythm, we
Yes.
just expand our frequency and our resonance,
Yes.
and that impacts everyone around us, and then that amplifies. Like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
magical.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
And that's the state of being that we're meant to be in. I'm,
yes,
I'm saying
all the
that
time.
as human nature, we are really behind on our evolution. We should have risen up as a higher conscious a long time ago, and there's been so much trying to pull us back.
Yeah,
But at the same time, the consciousness is pulling us this way. And so actually attaching to your breath and becoming at one with yourself and your universe, God, universe, spirit, source, with your energy. When you're at one with the universe, now you actually know what it is you're here to do, and you are elevated, and just by your sheer presence you elevate people around you, so you owe it not just to yourself but to your community,
we really
because
do.
we then become the solution to the problem of the world.
Yeah, yeah, and like I really believe that we are expanding consciously,
Yes.
actually, every day, and
Yes.
and more people are joining this awareness
Mm-hmm.
and are being impacted, and so like sometimes I feel like, am I being naive? And there's so much doom and gloom out there, and then I'm like,
No.
no, this is where we expand and
Yes.
grow and
Yeah.
shift from. So
And this is where you do it, and this is where somebody else does it. This is where they, and the whole thing is that it becomes the pulsation
yeah,
of the planet, because we are so energetically out of sync
yeah,
as a human race. This is why the planet is at disease. This is why she's literally cracking up. And
yeah.
when I say to people, oh, I ground all my problems, I say, would you stop doing that? Because Mother Earth is sick to death of all your problems. How about grounding some gratitude for all that she
Yeah.
does for you? Right? And you deal with your problems first on, instead of handing them out to poor Mother Earth. So, ground with Mother Earth to feel her energy, but not to dispose of, your do, please.
Yeah. Please give her a break.
Give her a break. She needs it desperately. The universe is ready to receive, for you to receive the universe. So just start channeling, and open up, and guarantee you will lead you, in the right way forward completely. Now, do you only work with people in person, or do you work with people online too?
Yep, absolutely. I work with people online. I have my private practice in Nanaimo, where I see people individually there, for counseling or breath sessions. And then I'm developing this program to really reach more people, and that will be all online. And I see people individually online as well. So there's lots of ways that people can work with me via breath, via therapy, via group work.
Mm-hmm.
I do also a monthly heart-centered circle with a couple other facilitators, which is really nourishing. We do
Mm.
breath, movement, and sound in a lovely circle where we engage, community reflection and interconnectedness. Um, and then sound breath is a event that I do with my partner, and he does the sound and I do the breath
Mm.
meditation. And so that really takes it to the next
Yes.
level when you get the frequency of the sound
Mm-hmm.
going at
Sound
the
is so
same time.
important. It's
Yeah.
just, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are local Nanaimo events. Once a month I do those, but then yeah, online I can work with people anytime, anywhere, pretty much.
I'm going to suggest the serving circle for you.
Okay.
It's a wonderful place on Facebook, done by invitation, but anybody can go and follow. But I think you would be a great asset to it, and it is people like you, like me, that are of service to humanity and how we share and support one another, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's like when you do step into this world, folks, when you've done the work and you step into this world and you've become that essence, and you are now that meaningful purpose, because you are the purpose, you what you're here to do. It's we need to find our tribe, that where we support each other in energy. It's not all about, I've got business for you. It's about I've got energy for you,
Yeah.
and supporting each other and being there for each other. Because the more we are, the more we expand. That beautiful pulsation of loving heart out. And so that's what it's about. Find your vibe tribe, but find your own vibe first, because we don't
Yeah,
want you
that's
bringing
it.
the wrong vibe to the tribe.
Well, and what you're putting out is
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
getting back all the
exactly.
time. And so if you're not happy with what you're being faced with, it's an inside job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that can
And if
be
and if you've
hard.
got people being nasty to you, it's like, am I inviting this? What's going on inside of me
Yeah.
that I'm inviting this? And then sometimes you've got people who just want to dump on you because they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, you can just wish them well and move on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because this is the show. Your health is your choice.
Yeah.
And here is a solution for you. Very, very simple. Once you've learned how to get into the rhythm, and you've learned how to pay attention to it and what it's doing for you, now is a practice that you can do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? So there are always solutions if we are willing to
Yeah.
embrace them. And that's the biggest thing. Are we willing to embrace them?
Yeah. Are we willing to be honest with
Yeah.
ourselves that A, we need the solution or that there's some solutions out there? I think we get pretty clouded by
Mhm.
our ego and not realizing that we have to accept help
Yeah,
and look
exactly.
for it. And yeah.
And it's always there. And like here, you've got a free offer, a free video, audio rather, a 15-minute breath meditation to restore your balance and system,
Yep.
which for people to go to. Now, can you give your website, please, and your social medias, how people can get hold of
Sure.
you, what next
Yeah. So my
programs coming up?
website, yeah, is withinbreath.com. All one word, obviously.
Hmm.
And that's Within Breath at Facebook as well, and Within Dot Breath on Instagram. My link tree as well has all the links of the freebies there. It's all Within Breath. And
YouTube within breath, and then you've got the nervous system reset lab. Um,
yeah. So that's just that's a workshop or a lab that I'm hosting
mhm.
through the next couple months. I'll be doing that on Mondays. And so yeah, it's just a nice little 1 hour come together. Let's really get an experience of how our breath works for
Mm,
us and how it regulates our nervous system. So it's a lovely little just like come away with some great tools to really use your breath in the real time.
mhm.
Mhm.
There's so much that you've shared here today that I was unaware of. And I think, again, once you're aware, you can't be unaware. And now it's being conscious of it. The breathing through the nose, how important that is. Everybody says breathe through your nose, but nobody's told us why it's so important.
Mhm.
Or that basically almost hyperventilating by breathing just through the mouth all the time,
Yep.
over oxygenating. And nobody ever said anything about that. And those are things that now we know we could be conscious of and catch ourselves
Yep.
in doing. But please, folks, reach out to her with in breath, breath.com. And of course, Facebook, Instagram within breath, and YouTube within breath, and her link tree within breath too.
Victory. Yeah. Yeah. That has all the links really easy to access there, the free audio, the free lab. And if you wanted to do one-on-ones or anything like that, yeah.
And the thing is, we go through life really wanting to do something that's going to help us. But the big problem is we don't always know what, where, who, or how.
Yep.
And this is my job to bring to you the people that are the who, the how, and the what, and the why they're doing it. It's
Mm.
changed her life. That's the
Mm.
point. I bring you people that I haven't just jumped into another program because it's cool. It
Mm.
had an effect on her life and her clarity, so much so she changed her career.
Yeah.
And now she wants to help other people. That's what it's about. When you
Mhm.
step into something that becomes your calling, that you really attach to, that you really feel at one with, you are now in sync with your gift, your instrument. And now
Mm.
she's playing it, but she's
Yeah.
also got a whole orchestra out there as well. And to
Oh,
make sure that it really does transcend. And you have no idea what this breath work can do for you, apart from regulating your nervous system or reducing pain in your body or helping your body heal itself. You have no idea if how it's going to affect your mind or your decision making.
well,
But
and the possibilities.
yes, that's the point. Isn't that exciting to
Mhm.
actually make that discovery?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we've lost is the ability to be wondrous, to be
Mm.
exploratory. If you are at the present moment in any shape or form struggling,
Yeah.
right, take the breath work, because through that, even it's all you come out with is a breath work and you've regulated your system and you can manage stress better.
Yeah.
But what if it opens something else up in you that you
Mhm.
never knew was there, that couldn't get in,
Yep.
right? Because your breath was out of sync.
Yeah, and just even starting with that 15-minute, that free breath track is just, it's a game changer. Just doing
Mm,
that every day for a few weeks. And I'd love to hear the results and how that impacts anybody
right.
who tries that and challenges themselves to actually do it every day.
Yeah, exactly, which I'm going to put it up there myself. And but if you know you're a person that needs support, or that you prefer to do it with somebody kind of there guiding you along the way, because it's so easy that you're doing it, and then you stop thinking about it and you immediately go back to the old way
Yep.
because that's where your subconscious wants to go. So
Yeah.
if you know you're somebody that struggles with that, then you need the help and the support where Tara is here for you. And it's
Yeah.
6 weeks, folks. 6 weeks can change your life.
Yes. Yeah. So that program is, I'm doing the launching here in September, and it will be delivery, like we'll be coming together in our first 1 hour in October 16th. So it's coming up pretty quick.
And that one is physical or online,
That's the 6 week online nervous system
right?
reset. Yeah.
And so if you're interested in that,
Yeah. Reach
reach out,
out.
reach
Yeah.
out.
Start with the freebies and then reach out and let's build a connection. And I can tell you all about that program.
Excellent. You know, take a breath, have a breath. Don't forget to breathe. You know, all of that. I mean, how important is our breath, folks, in every aspect? It's not just getting oxygen to your lungs. It's
Yeah.
feeding your entire being, every particle of you.
It
So,
it is so important. It is so important that we need to be connected to it,
yes,
right?
yes,
Not just letting it do its
yeah,
thing. We need
yeah.
to connect to it and be intentional with it. Not all day, but some of the day.
And you know, that's part of that meditation, being part of conscious of it in a moment. But then it's also getting to the point where the breath, oh, I've got the message. I know how to breathe now.
Yeah.
And then once or twice a day, you go be very conscious and present with yourself and make sure you're very mindful of that breath. But your breath has got you because you've got it on a right sync now. You've got it on a
Totally.
right frequency. And
Yeah.
so it's just reprogramming, reconstructing so that it's there to support you because after all,
Mhm.
it wants to do that. It
Yeah.
knows its job. So let's help it find its own groove. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we become groovy people.
Yes, I know. When you were saying that, like being your gifts and your wisdom, I was just like, oh yeah, just taking that in. Like, yeah.
Right. Well, you know, the gift of the now is in the present. Right. So, you know, that's the thing is we want you to be present all aspects of your day, but sometimes you're consciously present and sometimes you're not consciously present. But the more conscious present you become, the more present you'll always be in conscience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all your other active day-to-day stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you end up riding that wave of good, good, good vibrations, and it feels good, folks. It feels real
Yeah,
good.
it does. It's life-changing. It's
Yes. Yeah,
changing, and it's available for every human.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. and it doesn't cost a fortune. Right? And it's like, once you've got it, you've got it. So
Yes.
that's the thing. So you don't have to pay 10,000 to get your breath back. No.
Right?
So it's something so simple, something we may be unaware of, and something that we desperately need. So let's give our bodies the support it needs. So reach out to Tara, have a chat, start off with the freebie, look at the program, and just go, am I ready for it? And which means you've got to be diligent with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Commit
And I
to it.
mean, I offer a free 20-minute session just to kind of see, like, is this
Yeah.
even for you? Right. And
Yes.
yeah.
Right. Right. Because if you're not ready for it, you won't do it. Start off with the 15-minute ones. If you're ready for it, then this is when you're ready to sign up. Have a chat
Yeah.
with Tara and she will know. Thank you so much, Tara, for sharing here today. And of course, the reminder of his site again. It is withinbreath.com. And so it's all about the breath that is within. And we want you to breathe in a way that isn't just keeping you alive, but is helping you thrive. So thank you, Tara. And to everyone else out there, I wish you happy breath. Until
Thank
next time.
you. Thank you, Sarah.
Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.